She dragged him out of traffic by the collar, then told him he didn't deserve a dog. Camila Reyes was exhausted. Her shift at the animal clinic had run long, again, and her backpack was soaked through from the Los Angeles rain, a rare but unforgiving downpour. The city lights blurred through the water on her glasses as she waited at a crosswalk in Koreatown, just wanting to get home, peel off her wet shoes and microwave leftover arroz con pollo. Then she heard the barking. Frantic, sharp, getting closer. Her golden retriever burst into the street, weaving between cars, panicked and directionless. Drivers slammed brakes. Horns screamed. The dog bolted across the slick pavement, its collar dragging a leash, disconnected from the man on the sidewalk, who stood frozen like a statue holding the frayed handle in his hand. Camila didn't think. She dropped her bag and sprinted into the road. A taxi swerved. A delivery van skidded. Her heart thundered louder than the traffic. She crouched low, made a soft whistle through her teeth, and caught the dog by its collar just inches from disaster. "Gotcha," she whispered, pressing her face into its soaked fur. The man finally approached, rain pouring down his expensive coat, a pale panic still painted on his face. He reached for the leash. Camila yanked it back. "What kind of idiot lets go of a leash in the middle of the street?" she demanded, voice shaking with adrenaline. She slipped. She could have died." He blinked, rain streaming down his face. "You don't deserve this dog," she said, thrusting the leash into his chest. "You're lucky she survived. Take care of her like she matters, not like an accessory." Then she turned and walked away, not waiting for his reply, not seeing the teenager across the street filming the whole thing with a phone held low. Camila didn't care. She was wet. She was furious. And she had no idea that by morning, the internet would know her name. Miles Griffin wasn't used to being humiliated. At 35, he was the golden boy of Silicon Beach, a self-made tech CEO, founder of PetSync, the most downloaded pet care app in the country. Interviews, awards, and magazine covers had made him a household name in the startup world. His suits were tailored, his image polished, his instincts sharp. But none of that mattered now, because on his screen, playing in full HD with 10 million views and climbing, was him, standing dumb and drenched while a young woman dragged his runaway dog out of traffic and told him, straight-faced, that he didn't deserve her. She didn't yell. She didn't posture. She just meant it, and somehow that made it worse. His PR team was already in crisis mode. Emails from sponsors piled up. Social media was a mess. "Dog CEO can't handle a leash" had trended on Twitter all night. The video had been memed, stitched, analyzed, and dubbed in 3 languages. But Miles didn't care about the headlines. He cared about her. He had recognized her the moment she turned to leave in the video. The determined walk, the soaked hoodie, the fire in her voice. Camila Reyes. He'd seen her name just last week on the shortlist for the PetSync Veterinary Innovation Internship, a program he rarely paid personal attention to. Now he couldn't think about anything else. He leaned back in his chair, rewound the video again. She had risked her life for that dog, and then looked him in the eye like he was a disappointment. No one did that to Miles Griffin, and no one had ever made him feel it. Camila stared at the email. "You've been selected for a final interview at PetSync HQ." Her stomach dropped. PetSync, the same company whose golden retriever nearly died under a luxury umbrella in the middle of a thunderstorm. The same man she chewed out on camera, now immortalized as Leash Guy on TikTok. She almost deleted the email. She'd applied to the internship months ago, a prestigious program for veterinary students passionate about tech. Full-time pay, flexible hours, and access to cutting-edge diagnostic tools. It would have covered her last year of tuition and given her abuela a break from picking up extra shifts at the bakery. She needed this. So she went. Black slacks, clean ponytail, no makeup. She wore her grandmother's gold chain under her blouse, the one that always reminded her to stay grounded. The PetSync tower was intimidating. Steel and glass stretched into a cloudless sky. Inside, the walls gleamed with minimalist design and expensive art, photos of smiling pets and sleek product prototypes. Camila waited in the interview room, heart steady, fingers tapping against the worn edges of her resume. 3 people entered, all smiles, all polished. No sign of him. She exhaled. They started with the usual questions. Why veterinary science? What drew her to PetSync, where she saw herself in 5 years? She answered clearly, passionately, despite the buzz of nerves. Then a blonde executive asked almost casually, "What do you think of PetSync's leadership?" Camilla blinked. "I've read up on him," she said carefully. "He's built something impressive." The woman smiled. But Camilla hesitated, then remembered who she was, why she was here. "He seems disconnected from what animals need, and from the people who actually care for them." There was a pause. Someone scribbled on a clipboard. Camilla met their eyes. "That's not an insult, it's an observation. I think this company could do better, and I'd like to help it get there." Upstairs, behind one-way glass, Miles watched the entire thing. He hadn't looked away once. And for reasons he didn't fully understand, he smiled. Camilla didn't expect a callback. She figured they'd seen the video, connected the dots, and decided to avoid the PR mess entirely. She was ready to let it go. Maybe fate didn't want her working for a tech giant with an ego problem and a golden retriever. So when she got the second email, "Final informal meeting with the CEO, rooftop, 10 a.m., she almost didn't show. But curiosity was a stubborn thing. She wore jeans this time. No pretense, no cover. Just the girl from the street with the scar on her elbow from rescuing a puppy last year and the pride of knowing what real care looked like. The rooftop was lush, a private dog park lined with plants, sun-warmed concrete, and a stunning view of downtown LA. In the center stood him. Clean-cut, calm, polished in that effortlessly expensive way. The dog, the golden retriever she'd saved, sat beside him, tongue out, tail wagging. Camilla stopped just short of them, crossed her arms. Miles turned. "You came." She didn't smile. "You scheduled an interview under false pretenses." He nodded. "Fair. Is this where you apologize or sue me for defamation?" He smirked. "Neither, though my PR team pitched both." Camilla rolled her eyes and turned to leave. "Wait," he said softer. "You were right." She paused. "I wasn't paying attention. I didn't deserve her. But you didn't just save my dog. You exposed a weakness I didn't even know I had." Camilla frowned. "And what, you want to hire me as your conscience?" "No," he said. "I want to hire you to teach this company how to earn its mission statement. You care in ways we've forgotten." She looked down at the dog, who nudged her hand, remembered her, trusted her. "You think you can buy my integrity with a job?" He shook his head. "I think you already have more integrity than this company deserves. That's why I need you here." She didn't answer, but this time she didn't walk away. Camilla didn't sleep that night. She lay on the pull-out couch in her grandmother's apartment, listening to the distant hum of the freeway and the slow, steady rhythm of Abuela's breathing in the next room. The dog's leash, the rooftop, his voice, his offer, it all played on a loop. She wasn't just afraid of working for him. She was afraid of what it meant to want to. Her mother had warned her about men like Miles Griffin, men who wore good intentions like designer coats and discarded them when the weather changed. But he hadn't discarded her yet. If anything, he seemed unsettled, like she was the first thing in a long time he didn't understand. The next morning, she walked into the bakery where Abuela was already shaping dough. "I got offered a job," Camilla said quietly. Abuela didn't look up. "Good. You're too smart to be broke." "It's at PetSync." That made her pause. "The leash guy?" Camilla gave a reluctant smile. "Yeah." Abuela raised an eyebrow. "You sure it's the dog you saved, mija?" Camilla didn't answer. She just helped fold conchas in silence, the sweet smell of cinnamon softening the morning. Later that day, she walked into PetSync HQ. Miles met her in the lobby. No suit, no PR staff, just a plain grey hoodie and tired eyes. "You're early," he said. "Don't make me regret it," she replied. His smile flickered, unsure, almost hopeful. Camilla took a breath. "I'll take the internship, but don't expect me to pretend you're a saint." "I'd be disappointed if you did. And I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm counting on it." She held out her hand, he shook it. And in that moment, brief, electric, and unfinished, something passed between them. Not trust. Not yet. But the possibility of something neither of them had planned for. Camilla hit the ground running. In the first week, she rewrote PetSync's animal intake recommendations, flagged 3 outdated shelter protocols in their onboarding flow, and challenged a lead developer in a meeting when he referred to foster animals as units. The team didn't know what to do with her. She wasn't polished, she wasn't quiet, but she was right again and again. Miles noticed. He sat in on her meetings without speaking, watched her from behind glass conference walls, not with judgment, not with arrogance, with something else, like he was trying to remember who he used to be before the VC funding, the IPO pressure, the noise. Camilla noticed too. One night, after a long shift at the clinic, she stayed late at the office to test a diagnostic feature she was helping redesign. The lights were low. Most of the team had gone. Miles appeared in the doorway holding 2 takeout containers. "I heard you skipped dinner." She didn't want to take it, didn't want to need anything from him, but her stomach growled loud enough to betray her. She took the box. They ate on the floor, backs against the glass wall, her laptop humming beside them. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't quiet. It was real. He told her about growing up in a cold house with silent parents, how the first dog he ever loved died while he was away at college, and he hadn't forgiven himself since. She told him about leaving a scholarship in Texas after her mom got sick, coming home to help raise her cousins while working part-time jobs and going to night school. Neither of them tried to fix anything. They just listened. And when she leaned her head back, eyes closed, the golden office glow wrapping around her like dusk, Miles looked at her like a man realizing something he hadn't expected to want. Might already be in the room. It was supposed to be a routine press review. Camilla stood beside Miles in a bright, sterile studio, cameras flashing, as they launched PetSync's new rescue support feature. She wore a simple dress. He wore the usual tailored calm. Reporters asked questions. She answered some. He answered most. But then someone brought up the video. That video. The reporter smirked. "So, Mr. Griffin, what's it like working with the woman who called you unfit to own a dog?" A pause, laughter from the crowd. Miles looked at Camilla, then looked back at the room. "She was right," he said. The room went still. "And I'm a better man, and this is a better company because of her." Camilla's heart lodged in her throat. The lights were hot. Her fingers trembled slightly where they held her note cards. Afterward, she tried to brush it off. "Nice save," she said in the elevator. Miles looked at her. That wasn't a save. The elevator doors opened. She didn't walk out. "I don't know what you're doing," she said, voice tight, "but you're my boss." He nodded. "And you're the only person here who scares me." It wasn't a line, it wasn't a move. It was honest. And it wrecked her. Later that night, as LA thundered beneath a rare summer storm, Camilla knocked on his office door, soaked from the rain, hair sticking to her cheeks, her hoodie pulled over her eyes. She didn't say anything, just walked in, stood in front of him and whispered, "Tell me this is nothing and I'll leave." He stood slowly, looked at her like she was the answer to a question he never let himself ask. Then kissed her. Not like a man who had everything, like a man who had just found the one thing he was terrified to lose. Camilla didn't sleep that night. Not after the kiss, not after the silence that followed where his forehead touched hers, and neither of them knew what to say. She left before sunrise, hoodie pulled tight, heart thudding like a trapped animal in her chest. By morning, she was already drafting her resignation email. It wasn't just the kiss. It was the fear. She had worked too hard to build a life no one could take credit for. Not a man, not a title, not a billionaire with a lost look in his eyes, and a story that made her ache. She wasn't here to be someone's romantic redemption arc. So when she walked into Miles' office that afternoon, envelope in hand, she was ready for the goodbye. But he surprised her again. "I'm not asking you to stay," he said softly. She frowned. "What?" "I'm asking you to go if that's what you want. But not because you think I'll ruin you. I've seen your work. You'd survive me. You'd survive this company." Her throat tightened. He stepped forward. "You showed me how to care again, not just about the dogs. About the people who fight for them. I'll never forget that." Tears welled uninvited. Camilla didn't hand him the envelope. Instead, she walked out of the office, past the desks, past the glass, out into the daylight, where the air felt just heavy enough to remind her this was her life, and she had to choose it. 3 weeks later, PetSync launched its first community-based shelter hub, an idea Camilla had drafted on a napkin. She watched the live stream from home, then turned off the screen, picked up her bag and walked to the front door. Miles was standing outside. No suit, no pitch. Just the golden retriever. "I brought backup," he said. Camilla smiled through a tear. This time, when he reached for her hand, she didn't let go.